Yes, you made it back to the channel, everyone. Entrepreneur Sales. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hey, we're going to talk about mindset today. Mindset. Look, most people believe sales is about mastering techniques, okay? Eventually, you'll realize it's something much deeper. Hopefully, well, luckily for you, you found this video so you'll know. You won't have to suffer for years on end when it comes to sales. It is something much deeper. It's actually an identity problem disguised as a skill problem, right? You might not like sales, but sales is a skill, okay? And it's not your fault that people have given the service a name and labeled it a salesman. So you just got to get out of your own head. I mean, I don't think I view myself as a salesperson. I know that, right? It's all about the mindset. I want you to imagine this. If you can become someone who is calm under pressure, someone who thinks clearly, someone who genuinely wants the best outcome, someone disciplined enough to execute every single day, right? Your closing rate changes almost automatically. So I want to talk about something that very few sales trainers will ever teach you. That's philosophy, psychology, character, and identity. Now, I listen to a lot of videos. Obviously, I've been doing sales for over 10 years now. Wonderful mentors, wonderful coaching, wonderful education, but I do it every day. That's the difference, and I train people every day. Or most of these trainers, they've been removed so many years from it. Well, I'm in the game daily, right? And I'll never leave the game. So here's something I'd like to go through is different layers with you today. So go ahead and grab a pencil and paper and start writing all of this stuff down, right? You need to take notes. What is written is retained, right? And I want to learn at the highest level. I don't want to be a loser. I like winners, right? So you need to act like a winner. I don't want to teach a bunch of losers who don't take notes. I want to teach people at the highest level, at the highest acumen, big time motor. You know, in sales, you can't judge someone's motor, right? I want to see it. Prove to yourself you are who you say you are, right? You want to be a millionaire sales rep, take notes. It's just that simple to me. So layer one, or you want $1 million firm, same thing. Layer one, your prospect feels who you are before they hear what you say, right? Look, humans are emotional prediction machines, okay? So long before someone consciously evaluates your offer, their brain is asking one question. Is this person psychologically safe? Not nice, not funny, but are they safe? Can they trust your emotional state? Can they trust your confidence? Can they trust your certainty and your delivery, right? Can they trust you won't manipulate them? Mirror neurons begin firing almost immediately. So if you're desperate, they feel desperation, okay? Like if you're pulling things from your outside life into your work job and you're getting on the phone and you're making these dials, dude, it's bleeding through and they can feel that. If you're anxious, they feel your anxiety. If you're impatient, they'll actually become defensive. So you cannot fake emotional regulation. Your nervous system leaks into every conversation, which means the first sell isn't your product, it's your emotional state, right? You get on the darn call and you're all scatterbrained and emotional brain, right? You don't have your life in order, you're not holding yourself accountable. These things do bleed over into your sales calls, right? And it affects your emotional state, which ultimately affects your income and your revenue. So you got to get good at emotional regulation. I can't stress that enough. And not only does it bleed through your tonality, but the biology, the physiology, all that's going on down in the gut. Your gut's talking to their gut. Your nervous system's talking to their nervous system, right? So maybe you're doing a good job of hiding it, right? But they can still tell. So if you're not good and you don't if you're not good off the phone, you're not doing emotional regulation, and you're not holding yourself accountable and not lying to yourself, and when you say you're going to do something, you do it. You're reading the books, you're being good to your spouse, you're being good to your children, you're making time for yourself, you're taking care of yourself, then your emotional state is that one that exudes confidence and competence, right? So let's go down to layer two, which, hey, write it down. Sales is self-leadership. Write that down. Sales is self-leadership. And Marcus Aurelius, he's a legend, right? I love him to death, okay? He was an emperor of Rome. If you don't know about him, learn about him, right? He wrote a diary to himself, and one of the things he really stressed was, hey, you have power over your mind and not outside events. So you have control over your own thoughts, not what goes on out here, right? Now, you will talk to a bunch of idiots, especially in sales. It happens daily. One rude person, an idiot, a rude person, and an arrogant person. You'll run into three of those every single day. You can't let them affect your whole sales conversation. It can't carry in one convo to the next. That's called negative inertia, negative momentum, right? We don't want that. Every call is a new slate. So You have power over your mind, not outside events. And the greatest sales lesson hidden inside of Stoicism is this. You cannot control whether they buy. You cannot control their finances, right? Like their spouse, the economy, the objections, their mood. You only control your preparation, your questions, your discipline, your attitude, your elite responses. Elite closers never waste emotional energy fighting reality, right? Average reps spend all day saying, hey, they weren't interested, Nathan, they couldn't afford it, oh, they ghosted me, they wasted my time. You know what happens? I can tell who's going to be an assassin, who's going to make a lot of money, right? Because they'll kind of say, what can I learn? What signals did I miss? What questions should I have asked? What belief limited my performance? Yes, your own beliefs will limit your performance, right? It just says what it is. If you don't think that you're going to be a big dog, you'll never be a big dog, and you sell like you're going to be a little chihuahua, right? I want a big Great Dane to sell, right? That's what I'm looking for. And that's how you need to be. Layer 3, okay? Ruthless with standards, kind with people. So for me, I live by a saying, and that's ruthless with myself, tolerant with others, right? And I really feel like salespeople need to be that way. So also, like with your prospects, you need to be loving and warm and genuinely care about them, from a human perspective, like revenue and money and sales and business aside. Genuinely love the person you're talking with, and I think that will do you tremendous wonders in the conversation. It doesn't matter if they're rude or whatever. Literally none of that matters. I want you to impact people's lives in a positive way. Even if they get off the phone, your charisma, your attitude, your good intentional questions can all change the trajectory of someone's day. So that's so important. And when you show someone that you love them and you care about them, they'll buy from you. It's that simple. So that doesn't mean that you're passive with yourself when no one can see you. You need to be extreme and intense. So ruthless with standards, kind with people. And there's many salespeople that get that backwards. They become ruthless with prospects and forgiving with themselves. Well, like I said, we need to reverse that. Be ruthless with your standards, not with people. Demand excellence from yourself. Hold yourself accountable, right? Watch your recordings. Practice your word tracks. Train every day. Read books. Exercise. Control your sleep. Eat food that sharpens your brain, like show up on time. Keep your darn pipeline clean. Hit your dial numbers. You need to become obsessed with improvement is what I'm trying to say. When you speak with another person, like lead with kindness, lead with curiosity, lead with empathy, because pressure creates resistance. Understanding creates movement. Your prospect isn't your enemy. They're usually confused, scared, embarrassed, overwhelmed. They're trying to protect themselves, right? So you have to help them think clearly, okay? Let's drop down to layer 4, okay? And layer 4, look, and this might sound strange until you understand psychology, okay? Layer 4 is titled, Love is Actually a Skill. Love is actually a sales skill. Actually, make that the title. Love is actually a sales skill. Love isn't weakness. Love is wanting the best outcome for another person, right? So if you genuinely care about another person, which is one of the sales secrets, is just genuinely care and love the other person, you will ask better questions. You'll be more intentional. You'll listen longer. You'll interrupt less. And you diagnose more accurately. And you'll stop trying to impress. You start trying to understand. I don't know if any of you ever know him, but Carl Rogers, right, one of the most influential psychologists in history, demonstrated that people change more readily when they experience genuine empathy and unconditional positive regard. In sales, that doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It just means respecting the person sitting across from you. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is actually challenge someone's thinking, challenge their perspective. Doctors do it, coaches do it, parents do it, great salespeople also do it. I'm very challenging, right, in terms of the sales conversation. Well, I'm challenging them because I don't want to see them, not have the income that they deserve and not make the money that they're worth. I don't want to see them have a failing business, all of those things, right? Because it's not just them that's being affected. It's like their entire family tree, right? So you have to think about it really, really in depth in terms of being loving and passionate. And I feel like that's one of the major secrets in sales is just being a good person. So the next layer, let's drop down to layer 5, which is your body is part of your sales process. That's right. That's right. This might be an unpopular thing to say, but no, actually it's true, right? People separate health from sales. You shouldn't, right? Like I said, winner or loser. What, you think you're going to make a lot of money but be fat and out of shape? Well, how's that going to go? It's like it's not going to be the same enjoyable experience here on earth as it would be if you were fit and in shape. Also, like a ton of other reasons too, like poor sleep decreases emotional regulation, poor nutrition affects cognitive flexibility, chronic stress narrows attention, low energy weakens vocal projection. So another thing, like exercise, it improves executive functioning, confidence, resilience, and stress tolerance. So think about that, right? You work out today, right? It may improve tomorrow's closing ratio because you're showing up mentally sharper. Sales isn't performed only with your mouth. It's performed with mainly your brain, your hormones, your nervous system, your posture, your breathing. All of it goes together. Where did I learn that? Brian Tracy, the great Brian Tracy, okay? I had bought one of his sales training videos years ago, right? And he really stressed everything that I just covered. So if you're wondering where it came from me applying it and actually seeing beautiful results, but learning it from one of the greatest salesmen of our time, right? So I bought the program. You didn't have to. I'm telling you what's inside of it. Oh, I don't know. You should probably start doing those things, right? Let's go to layer 6. The philosophy of becoming. Aristotle believed excellence wasn't an event, that it was actually a habit, right? You are what you repeatedly do. You don't wake up the best. You become the best. One conversation, one workout, one difficult decision, one uncomfortable call, one completed book, one practice session, one recording reviewed. Every action casts a vote for the person that you're becoming. Your identity isn't discovered. Baby, it's constructed. Okay? You got to put who you are together, eventually get a whole being, right? And that's kind of how it works. Like for me, for example, everything that I'm telling you guys is stuff that I had to do to get to the level of salesmanship that I'm at right now. And with that is, it's, if you come in front of me, it's game over. And that's just the way it's going to roll, right? Because I understand the game. But it took years of learning and doing and failing and calling and embarrassing and sweating, all of that. But also all the things I had to do off the phone, right? Like I had to read the books. I had to get smarter. I had to listen to myself talk. I had to talk to people smarter than me, to different personalities than me. I had to do all of that. And then within all of that, that's how I was able to construct what you're watching, a guy teaching a video about sales training, get to that level of acumen, right? A marksman, a statesman. That's what you want to get to, right? And that's how you have to look at sales. It's just a professional sales. It's just a sport. Like there's no other way to it. And you would follow the process of becoming an elite athlete the same way you would follow the process of becoming an elite salesman. And within doing that, you really blow that income out of the water. So again, it's not discovered your identity. It's something that you construct. Now, you guys live in a time where you've got people like, all the big names out there that are salespeople, motivation, fitness, education, millionaires, billionaires, that you can pull up YouTube and listen to them talk. In the 100 years ago, you'd have to know that person or network or be involved in circles to just maybe ask a question. Now you can sit down and listen to people talk. So there's never been a better time to learn and apply, and constantly get better. All of that learning is going to dictate your income. Just remember, the economy, your skill is reflective of your income, right? So the economy always pays you based on your skill. It just says what it is. All right, layer 7, detachment creates better closers. No, but it's true, and this seems paradoxical, but the salesperson who needs the deal usually loses it. The salesperson who wants help usually earns it. Why? Because attachment ends up creating tension. And with tension, I call it commission breath. Well, your prospect literally feels, I need this commission instead. I want what's best for you. You have to detach from the outcome, attach yourself to excellence. Your job is not to force a sale. Your job is to create enough clarity that the prospect can make an informed decision. Ironically, that often produces more sales, okay? So let's go down to layer 8, ruthless work ethic without self-hatred, okay? So yeah, when a lot of people think, well, Nathan's probably really hard on himself with his standards and ruthless, and man, I couldn't imagine having to learn all day and work out all day and work all day and go all out with your kids and your wife. I couldn't imagine that, right? No, but let me tell you something. I also don't care about anything at all. Okay? I also am completely detached from everything. At the end of the day, nothing is a big deal, right? I've been shot 4 times and lived. I've been down to 90 pounds. I've been abandoned by my mom at a young age. So all of those things, I've realized that, hey, nothing is a big deal at the end of the day. Whether you make a certain amount of money, whether you close a deal, none of that stuff matters. And many high performers believe self-criticism creates greatness, and it doesn't, right? Love does, regardless of what research shows, okay? Self-compassion doesn't lower standards. It improves resilience after failure. There's a difference between saying I'm terrible versus that call wasn't my best. Here's what I'll improve. You see, one attacks identity, the other builds competence. Be relentless, demand excellence, refuse mediocrity, but don't become your worst enemy. Like, don't destroy yourself. You're trying to build a machine. You're trying to build a legendary human being, not destroy an average one, right? And yeah, we're all average. Unless you're a billionaire with a huge company and all that, you need to hold yourself to a higher, and your family, and your relationship with your religion, all of those things matter, right? So obviously that's more important, family and religion, than a business. But I think you understand what I'm saying. It's about creating the person, not chasing the dollar. And I can't stress that enough, right? So don't beat yourself up. It's okay to be hard on yourself, right? That's what it's all about. But I don't want you to become at a spot where you destroy yourself. So let's go down to layer 9. Every call is a reflection of your inner world. No, and understand that results typically are a lagging indicator of your current mindset. And if you're impatient, it appears in your pacing, right? Like you're insecure. I can tell in your tonality. If you're the eye contact. Dude, if you're insecure, I can tell so quickly. I'm over here, you're looking over here. Oh, your eyes are so freaking me out, right? You're doing all that weird stuff with your eyes. Dude, people can tell you don't believe in yourself. That's weirdo stuff, right? If you're disciplined, it appears in your consistency. If you're grateful, it appears in your energy. Your sales process is simply an external expression of your internal character. You cannot permanently outperform who you are, right? Eventually, your habits catch up to your numbers, and that's pretty much how it works every time. So, what I want to say is this, right? People spend years searching for the perfect objection handler, the perfect closing question, the perfect script. Those things matter, but like they're multipliers. Your mindset is the foundation. Become someone who is ruthless with discipline, relentless with consistency, kind and loving towards one another. Most importantly, compassionate with yourself, and curious instead of judgmental. Philosophical instead of emotional, healthy in body, mind, and soul, and detached from outcomes and obsessed with excellence. Because in the end, guys, they're not buying your product, they buy the calmness of your mind, the certainty of your character, the discipline of your habits, and the confidence of the person that you are. They want to buy from you. They're someone that you remind them of themselves, right? So hopefully this video was helpful. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check us out at Universal Accounting Center, and I'll see you in the next one.